Ireland's cities are changing fast. Here's what's really happening. Dublin's population just grew by 8% in 3 years. But the people arriving? They're not who you think they are. And the consequences? They're already reshaping Ireland's identity in ways most people haven't even realized yet. Let me show you what's really happening. But wait, before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment, "I subscribe" below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. Irish rents jumped 42% since 2019. That's the fastest spike in Western Europe. But here's what the economists missed. Meet Anna, 29 years old, born and raised in Rathmines. She's been teaching primary school in Dublin for 6 years. Last year, her landlord raised her rent from €1,400 to €2,100 a month in 18 months. Now, she commutes 90 minutes each way from her parents' house in Kildare. "I can't afford to live in the city I teach in anymore." This isn't rare. It's the new normal. According to the Residential Tenancies Board's 2024 report, the average Dublin rent hit €2,280 a month, up from €1,608 in 2019. The ESRI found a housing deficit of 68,000 units in Greater Dublin alone. And here's the kicker. For every 100 new residents Ireland gained between 2020 and 2023, only 12 new homes were built. But here's the twist no one talks about. It's not just migration driving this. Ireland built half the homes it needed for its own population growth. Now, there are solutions starting to emerge. Co-living spaces in Cork and Galway are cutting costs by 30%. The government's €4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund launches in 2025. But the housing crisis? That's just symptom one. The real identity shift is happening in the schools. In 2024, 23% of Dublin primary school students don't speak English as their first language. 10 years ago, it was 11%. This is Tomasz. He's 34, a software engineer from Poland. He moved to Dublin in 2021 with his wife and 2 kids. His 7-year-old daughter's class has 14 different native languages. Parent-teacher meetings now require 6 translators. My daughter is thriving, but I see Irish parents pulling their kids out to move to County Wicklow. According to the Department of Education, 127 Dublin schools now have a majority of non-Irish national students. A 2023 UCD study found that 186,000 non-EU nationals arrived in Ireland between 2020 and 2023. That's in a country of 5.1 million people. Blanchardstown, Ballymun, parts of Cork City. These areas saw over 40% demographic change in under 5 years. If you ever wonder why your local school feels completely different than when you were a kid, this is why. Now, integration programs in Limerick are showing an 85% success rate. Dual language pilots are reducing parent anxiety. And here's something beautiful. Second-generation Irish Nigerians are now captaining GAA teams in Dublin 15. But while classrooms were transforming, something even stranger was happening to Ireland's most iconic export. Ireland lost 1,200 pubs in the last decade, but the spaces replacing them? They tell a wild story about who's really shaping modern Ireland. Meet Declan, 58, third-generation owner of McCarthy's Pub in Galway, established 1947. He closed in 2022 after foot traffic dropped 60%. The building is now a Syrian-owned shawarma restaurant, and it's the most popular eatery on the street. I was bitter at first. Then I tried the food. Place is packed every night. The Drinks Industry Group reported over 1,200 pub closures since 2015. But Failty Ireland found that international cuisine restaurants in Dublin, Cork, and Limerick are up 340% since 2018. Here's the part that'll surprise you. Ireland's economy is stronger because of this shift. The central bank reported 3.2% GDP growth in 2024 versus an EU average of 1.1%. Tech sector employment? 245,000 jobs. That's up 89% since 2015. But here's the controversy. 74% of new Dublin tech hires are non-Irish nationals. If you felt uneasy watching your hometown transform, you're not imagining it. But the economics tell a different story than the emotion. And while the economy booms, there's one group being pushed to the edge. And they're starting to push back. In 2023, Ireland saw its first major anti-immigration protests in 40 years. And they're growing. Meet Aoife, 41, single mother from Cork. She works 2 jobs, retail and cleaning. She's been on the housing wait list for 4 years. Last year, she saw newly arrived Ukrainian families housed in hotels within weeks. I'm not anti-anyone. I'm just pro my kids getting a fair shot. She attended a protest. Something she never imagined doing. An Ipsos Ireland poll from 2024 found that 61% of Irish citizens believe the pace of immigration is too fast. Gardaí reports show 47 protests related to asylum centers or migration in 2023, up from 3 in 2019. But here's what's important. 73% of Irish people still support helping refugees. 58% just want better planning. This isn't racism. It's resource anxiety. And experts warn, if housing isn't fixed, this divide will deepen. Denmark's integration model, dispersed housing mandatory language courses, has led to 40% faster employment rates. Ireland's pilot sponsor family program is showing promise in Donegal. But here's what almost no one realizes. The biggest shift isn't even about who's arriving. It's about who's leaving. For the first time in 170 years, more Irish people are emigrating back out than during the famine era. But no one's calling it crisis. Meet Killian, 27, software developer, Dublin native, worked at Google Dublin for 3 years. He ran the numbers. His €65,000 salary couldn't buy a home, couldn't start a family. I love Ireland, but Ireland priced me out. He moved to Lisbon in 2023. Same salary, 50% lower cost of living. CSO migration data from 2024 shows 64,000 Irish passport holders emigrated last year. That's the highest since 2015. And they're not random. Their ages 25 to 35. University educated. Skilled workers. 41% of Trinity College Dublin engineering graduates now work abroad within 2 years. So Ireland is gaining population, but it's losing its own young professionals. And replacing them with who? The ESRI found critical shortages in nursing, teaching, construction, sectors young Irish immigrants use to fill. Here's the paradox. International workers arrive. They push rents higher. That prices out locals, which creates the feedback loop. Remote work visas are letting some Irish immigrants return part-time. Tax incentives for first-time homebuyers under 35 are being tested. And 2024 saw the first signs of a slowdown in outbound migration. If you're Irish and thinking about leaving, you're not alone. And if you're not Irish but watching this happen, you're seeing the future of every Western city. So here's the real question. Is Ireland becoming more diverse, more dynamic, more prosperous? Or is it losing something irreplaceable in the process? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Both can be true at the same time. The Oxford Migration Observatory put it this way in 2024. Rapid demographic change without infrastructure investment creates instability, regardless of who arrives. Ireland was built for 4 million people. It's now home to 5.3 million. But the infrastructure? Still stuck in 2010. This isn't a story about immigration. It's a story about a country that grew too fast for its own roads, homes, and identity to keep up. So here's my question for you. If your city faced this exact shift, population booming, rent soaring, culture changing, young people leaving, would you stay and fight for it? Or would you be the one packing? Tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Because this isn't just Ireland's story. It's coming to your city next.